ओम नमो नारायणाय महाराज जय श्री रामकृष्ण। Om Namo Narayanaya. We shall begin the session with a prayer. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of the life of the household disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. We were looking into the life of Garish Chandra Ghosh. We will continue from where we had left yesterday. A great change was coming over Garish. He felt as if Sri Ramakrishna was his own close relative. The Master's loving care and concern made Garish Chandra Ghosh understand that he would not condemn him for his shortcomings. So Garish wrote, I went to the Kshineshwar. I found Sri Ramakrishna seated on the southern porch of his room. He was talking with a young devotee named Bhavanatha. I prostrated myself before Sri Ramakrishna and mentally recited the verse, Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu, Guru is the Lord Maheshwara, the God of gods. He said, I was just Ramakrishna. As soon as he got up from the prostration, Ramakrishna said to him, I was just talking about you. And if you don't believe me, ask Bhavanath. After a while, he started to give me some spiritual advice. Now Ramakrishna started giving Garish Chandra Ghosh some spiritual advice. Now Garish Chandra Ghosh stopped Ramakrishna. What did he say? How did he stop him? Garish Chandra told Ramakrishna, I won't listen to any advice. I don't want your advice. I have myself written cartloads of advice myself. And it is all there in my books. It doesn't help. Do something that will transform my life. See the intense faith of Garish Chandra Ghosh. He's telling, you have to do something. I don't want just advices. Please do something that will transform my life. I have myself written cartloads of advices in my books, in my dramas. What is the use of them? Please do something that will transform my life. Hearing these words, now you should note that somebody else, other guru, ordinary guru, would be insulted by this. But on the contrary, hearing these words of Garish, full of faith, Sri Ramakrishna was highly pleased. Ramlal, Ramakrishna's nephew, was present there. Sri Ramakrishna asked Ramlal to recite a particular hymn, which ran thus, go into solitude and shut yourself in a cave. Peace is not there. Then where is the peace? Where do you get peace? How do you get peace? Peace is where faith is. For faith is the root of all. See, again and again, because I had to talk about subject on faith, I had to search the whole of gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. In that, Sri Ramakrishna is mentioned about faith more than 250 times. Faith, Shraddha. So faith can give you anything. Intense faith in the words of the Guru, in the words of the scriptures, in God, can give you everything. Have faith in God. So when Ramakrishna heard Girish speaking like that, Sri Ramakrishna was highly pleased. He asked his nephew Ramalal to repeat particular hymn which ran thus: "Go into the solitude and shut yourself in a cave. You will not get peace there. Peace is where faith is. You will get real peace of mind or whatever in your life only by faith. You should have faith in your Guru, in your Ishtadevata. Have implicit faith in God, in your Guru, in your scriptures, and you will get real peace. That is the root of everything. Peace is where faith is, for faith is the root of all, everything. I saw a small smile playing on the lips of Sri Ramakrishna when Sri Ramakrishna asked nephew Ramlal to repeat this. So while that was being repeated, there was a smile playing on the lips of Sri Ramakrishna. And I felt at that moment, Garish Chandra Ghosh is telling that he felt at that moment that I was freed from all impurities. So Ramakrishna was performing the miracle. So now Girish Chandra Ghosh, when Ramakrishna was about to give the advice, he stopped him saying, "I don't want all these advices. I have written myself cartloads of advices and put them into my drama and in my books. I don't want advice, I want transformation. Do something. Let there be some tangible result. I want something, you should do something." So now, because of that intense faith of Girish Chandra Ghosh, Ramakrishna, he could see he was doing some mischief. There was some smile. Girish Chandra Ghosh saw a smile playing on the lips of Sri Ramakrishna. He started transforming him. What was that? Girish Chandra Ghosh himself is telling, "I felt at that moment that I was freed. At that very moment when I asked him to do something." Girish Chandra Ghosh himself is mentioning, "I felt at that moment that I was freed from all impurities of mind. And at that moment my arrogant head bowed down. My arrogant head bowed low at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. In Sri Ramakrishna I found my sanctuary, and all my fear was gone. Not only I felt that all my impurities are going away, but Girish Chandra Ghosh started feeling that all his fear, because he had committed so many sins, innumerable sins. We will see that now. What are all the sins he has committed? And in spite of that, Sri Ramakrishna transformed him. Why? Because of faith. So you can see that faith is the answer. If you have faith in God, so that faith of yours can create miracles. And you can see the miracle happening here. Ramakrishna, with his smile, just a smile, on his lips is removing all the impurities in the mind of Girish Chandra Ghosh. Not only that, all the fears that was lurking in the heart and the mind of Girish Chandra Ghosh because he has committed so many sins is vanishing away. Girish Chandra Ghosh himself is mentioning, I felt at that moment that I was freed from all impurities. And at that moment, my arrogant head bowed low. My ego was being crushed at his feet. In Sri Ramakrishna, I found my sanctuary and all my fear was gone. That is very, very important. That fear of whatever sins we have committed will be again and again piercing our heart. Whatever sins we have committed, it will be piercing our heart. Whatever you do, that fear doesn't go. But now, by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, just with a smile on his lips, he could remove all the impurities, his ego, and also the fear is going away. I found a sanctuary in Sri Ramakrishna and all my fear was gone. I prostrated myself before Sri Ramakrishna and was about to return home. Sri Ramakrishna followed me as far as the northern porch. Then I asked him, now that I have received your grace, am I to continue the same kind of work? That is the theatre work, writing dramas and then directing the dramas, working with the actors, working in the theatre. Should I continue this type of work or should I give up everything and dedicate my life only to sadhana? What am I supposed to do? Should I change my life or should I continue what I was doing earlier? Girish Chandra Ghosh asked Sri Ramakrishna, now that I have received your grace, am I to continue the same kind of work that I have been doing? Now Sri Ramakrishna replied, yes, why not? Why should you stop the old work? Do whatever you want. Many people, when we ask them to take the mantra diksha or read the life of Ramakrishna and start practicing his teachings, they ask us, oh, we were eating non-vegetarian, should we give it up? We were like this, should we stop that, stop this? Should we not go there? Should we not come here? Should we change everything? So you get the answer here. You need not change anything. Continue whatever you are, but only have faith in God. Ramakrishna is telling Girish Chandra Ghosh. Ramakrishna replied, yes, why not? Why should you not continue your old work of writing the dramas and playing in the theatre? You should continue that. From words of Sri Ramakrishna, I understood that my connection with the theatre would not hurt my spiritual life. So whatever life you are leading, the work you are doing, you do that work. Earlier you are doing that with the attitude of ego. Now do it as an offering to the Lord. Whatever work you do it as an offering to the Lord. And that work itself will become a medium for you to take you to God. So Girish Chandra Ghosh understood from those words of Sri Ramakrishna that my connection with the theatre would not hurt my spiritual life. My heart was filled with joy after receiving that grace of Sri Ramakrishna. Just with a smile on his lips, he could remove all my impurities of the mind. He could remove all the sins He could remove the fear of my mind, and there was palpable, tangible transformation in me. All my arrogancy, my ego was crushed. So Girish could feel it. Tangible result. Just with the smile on his lips, Ramakrishna could remove all these things. Now Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling, my heart was filled with joy. I felt as if I was born anew. Is this not transformation? We hear outside about so many transformation. You give some money, or they will give you some money and they will convert you to some other religion. Is that conversion? Any giving you any transformation? Not at all. How will that conversion be? I read a story, a funny story, humorous story. I will tell you that story. What is the way of conversion we, or the transformation we believe in? There was one Chinnaswamy. So he was caught hold of by a Christian missionary or a priest. This Chinnaswamy was a great alcoholic or a drunkard. Told, now I will convert you to Christianity. You come, you will have the baptism, then you are no more a Hindu, you are a Christian. So he went through the process. He knew that, the priest knew that he was an alcoholic. Chinnaswamy, from today you are not Chinnaswamy. You have been converted to James. Your name is James now. He was made to dip in the holy water. He was baptized as James. You are no more Chinnaswamy. You should not worship any Hindu deities. You should not light the lamp. You should not drink any alcohol. You should give up drinking alcohol. So Chinnaswamy agreed and he became a new person called James. He went back to the house. What did the father or the priest do to him? He had made him to dip in that water and then baptized him. So he followed the same. He went back to the house. No, he was a great alcoholic. So much attached to alcohol that he couldn't give up. Now the priest has told that he should not drink alcohol. So what to do? He took the same trick of the priest. He took all the alcohol bottles from the refrigerator, dipped it in water, filled the bucket with water, poured some holy water into it, and then he told all the alcohol bottles, from today you are not that particular alcoholic bottle. You are fruit juice. You have been converted into fruit juice because you have been dipped into water, holy water. Then he went on. He took that. You are no more alcohol. You are fruit juice. You have been dipped, baptized. He drank alcohol again, and the same alcoholic thing continued. So this is the conversion we see every day. You get some money, you get some food, and you are converted. You give up your religion. So that is not the conversion we want. We want this transformation. The devotion to God, that is very important. The transformation is needed. And you could see the transformation, the miracle, what about in the life of Garish Chandra Ghosh. So Garish Chandra Ghosh himself is telling, my heart was filled with joy. I felt as if I was born anew. I was totally a changed man. There was no more doubt or conflict in my mind. Now I could feel God is real. God is my sanctuary. I have found my refuge in this God-man. I found my refuge in Sri Ramakrishna, the God-man. Now I can easily realize God. Thoughts like these cast their spell on me night and day. In waking or in dream, I would get these positive thoughts only. I can realize God, God is true. The same mood persisted. Fearless am I have found my very own. The world can no longer bind me. For even the greatest fear, the fear of death, is gone. So now you can see the palpable transformation. He asked for it and he got it. Whatever he wanted, I got it. I don't want your advice, I want some transformation. Transform my life, do something that will transform my life. And with a smile on his lips, Ramakrishna could do it. So, what happened? Fearless am I. In waking or in dream, the same mood persisted, that I can realize God. God is real. God is my sanctuary because of Ramakrishna. I have found my very own. The world can no longer bind me. For even the greatest fear, the fear of death, is gone. Now, could you see the transformation yourself? There is a saying that if a man takes one step towards God, Ramakrishna used to tell that, God takes 10 steps towards that person. Note it. If you take one step towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. Ramakrishna used to tell that. You can find this teaching in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. It was not just that Girish was seeking Sri Ramakrishna, even more so it was Sri Ramakrishna who was seeking Girish to play a vital role in his divine drama. So, in the divine drama of Sri Ramakrishna's life, Girish Chandra Ghosh had to play a vital part, the role. And what is that? You can see he was an inspiration. This character, if we study this character, we can find that character in us to some extent. And then getting the remedy from the teachings and the life of Girish Chandra Ghosh, we can come out of it. So that's why not only Girish Chandra Ghosh was seeking Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna was even more so seeking him. It was Sri Ramakrishna who was seeking Girish to play a vital role in his divine drama. Long before Girish Chandra Ghosh met Sri Ramakrishna had a vision which he described as follows. Ramakrishna himself is describing his vision, whatever vision he had. And what was that vision? Ramakrishna is telling, one day when I was meditating in the Kali temple, Dakshineshwar, I saw a naked boy skipping into the temple. He had a tuft of hair on the crown of his head. He was carrying a flask of wine under his left arm and a vessel of nectar in his right arm. Who are you? Sri Ramakrishna asked him. To which that boy replied, I am Bhairava. Who is Bhairava? The chief of Shiva's host. That boy replied, I am Bhairava. On my asking the reason for his coming, he answered, to do your work, I have come to do your work. Years later, when Girish came to see me, I recognized that Bhairava, the chief of Shiva's host, was none other than Girish Chandra Ghosh. So Bhairava now has come, this Bhairava, to do the work of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, Girish in his earlier life, let us see some of the earlier life of Girish Chandra Ghosh. What was his character? Girish hated hypocrisy. From the bottom of his heart, he didn't like hypocrisy. Being bold and strong in character, he did not find it necessary to hide his weakness. He would never hide his weakness, he would openly tell. He did not find it necessary to hide his weakness. And indeed, it takes tremendous courage to unite mind and speech. It's not so easy to be frank, to give up hypocrisy and tell everything, every secret of yours openly. So what is that? To unite your mind and speech is not so easy. It takes tremendous courage, especially to one's discredit. If it will bring you bad name, you never tell the secrets of your life. So it needs tremendous courage. So Girish himself would say, I have drunk so many bottles of wine that if you were to place one bottle on the top of another, the height of that bottles would reach the height of Mount Everest. It is true that Girish Chandra Ghosh drank a great deal and he had been addicted to opium, the drugs too. He also would visit brothels often, the house of prostitution. But one should not think that he was a seducer, an exploiter, a cheat, or given to actual cruelty. His strength of character kept him above hypocrisy and other such evils. When Girish was drunk, he had little control over his speech and behavior. Seeing him in this condition, even the girls of the brothels hesitated to open their doors to him. One night, said Girish, in a euphoric and drunken mood, Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling he was visiting a house of prostitution with two of his friends. But suddenly Girish felt an urge to visit Sri Ramakrishna. Immediately, friends and Girish hired a carriage and drove out to the Dakshineshwar. It was late at night and everyone was asleep. The three of us entered Sri Ramakrishna's room tipsy and reeling, fully drunk. Now what happened? Sri Ramakrishna was wide awake. Sri Ramakrishna grasped both my hands and he began to sing the songs of God and dance in ecstasy. The thought flashed through my mind, look, here is a man whose love embraces even the sinners. I have come in the dead of the night, fully drunk, and this man catches hold of my hands and sings and praises the God and dances with me, whose love embraces all, even the sinners, not only the good people, even a wicked man like me. And Girish Chandra Ghosh was surprised, even my own family would condemn me in this state of drunkenness. But Sri Ramakrishna accepted me as I was. He embraced all good and the wicked. Even the wicked man like me, whose own family would condemn me in this state. Surely this holy man, Sri Ramakrishna, respected by the righteous, is also the savior of the fallen. Sri Ramakrishna has come not only to be respected by the righteous, the good, but also is the savior of the fallen, the wicked. the sinners. One day, a devotee complained to Sri Ramakrishna about Garish Chandra Ghosh's habit of drinking, and the devotee begged Ramakrishna to ask Garish Chandra Ghosh to give up drinking. But Sri Ramakrishna sternly replied, "Why do you trouble your head about Garish? He who has taken charge of him will look after him. Girish is a devotee of the heroic type. I tell you, drinking will not affect him." So when that devotee complained, you have to ask Girish stop drinking or ask him to stop coming to Dakshineshwar. People will think bad of this place. Now Ramakrishna replied sternly when the devotee complained to him, "Why do you trouble your head about him? He who has taken charge of him will look after him. I have taken his responsibility," Ramakrishna is telling, "of transforming his life. I have taken the responsibility. I will take care of him. You do not worry about that. He who has taken charge of him will look after him." Girish Chandra Ghosh is a devotee of the heroic type, Veera Bhava. I tell you, drinking and all other vices will not affect him. On another occasion, Sri Ramakrishna asked Ashwini Kumar Datta if he knew about Girish Chandra Ghosh, to which Ashwini Kumar Datta replied, "Which Girish Ghosh? The one connected with the theatre?" "Yes." So Ashwini Kumar Datta told, "I have never seen him, but I know him by his reputation. A good man, but he drinks." When that Ashwini Kumar Datta told about this to Ramakrishna, that he drinks, Ramakrishna replied, let him drink. How long will he continue to drink?" Sri Ramakrishna never forbade Girish to drink, as he knew that it takes time to change deep-rooted habits. It's not so easy to change deep-rooted habits. So Ramakrishna would not force anything upon anybody. Sri Ramakrishna never forbade Girish to drink, as he knew that it takes time to change deep-rooted habits. Yet, the silent influence of Sri Ramakrishna's love, but you should note that by love you can conquer anybody, and that too unselfish love of Sri Ramakrishna conquered Girish. Yet, the silent influence of Sri Ramakrishna's love and affection worked miracles. Girish saw his life changing under the influence of Sri Ramakrishna. Yet he could not fathom the nature of this great soul called Sri Ramakrishna. One day he asked the master, "Who are you?" Girish is directly confronting Ramakrishna and he couldn't understand him. He asked Sri Ramakrishna, "Who are you?" Sri Ramakrishna replied, "Some say I am Ram Prasad, a poet saint of Bengal. Others say that I am Raja Ramakrishna. Some call me a saint, some call me God. But I simply live here, that's all. Many people say many things about me. I'm not bothered about it. But this much I know, I simply live here, that's all." Gradually, Girish became convinced that Sri Ramakrishna was an incarnation of God. And he started to spread this idea among the devotees. On a certain occasion, Sri Ramakrishna asked Girish, "Hello, what were you saying about me?" I eat, I drink water, and I make merry in the name of God, that's all. But you are telling so many things that I am avatar and so many other things about me. To which Girish replied, what should we have been saying about you? Are you a holy man? Sri Ramakrishna replied, no, nothing of that sort. Truly, I do not feel that I am a holy man. Girish told, I am not your equal even in joking. In the same vein, Girish related once that Sri Ramakrishna had asked the future Swami Yogananda what he thought about him. Swami Yogananda, the young man at that time, had replied, you are neither a householder nor a sannyasin monk. Sri Ramakrishna was greatly pleased and exclaimed, what an extraordinary statement you have just made. Sri Ramakrishna was happy to know that his disciple had recognized his divine nature, which is beyond all limitations and stages of life. One day, Girish surrendered himself completely to Sri Ramakrishna. He asked Sri Ramakrishna for instructions as to what he should do from then on. Ramakrishna replied, do just what you are doing now, said Sri Ramakrishna. Hold on to God with one hand and hold on to the world with the other. Think of God at least in the morning and in the evening. This sounded simple to Girish. He was very happy to get that instruction, but then he recalled that his life was so irregular, no discipline, that it would be hard for him to remember God at those stated hours. Sri Ramakrishna asked the simplest thing to be done, nothing else. Catch hold of God with one hand and do the work of the world in another hand. Excuse me. Think of God at least in the morning and evening. That was all the instructions. Nothing else. Morning once, think of God. Evening once, you think of God. That is all. It was so simple. You could have easily agreed and continued that practice. Can anything be simpler than that? Morning, once you remember God. Evening, once you remember God. That's all. Think of God at least in the morning and evening. But Girish Chandra Ghosh, he kept quiet because he knew that his life was irregular, that it was hard for him to remember God at those stated hours. So he kept quiet. Now Sri Ramakrishna could understand his mind. Sri Ramakrishna read his mind and said, well, if you cannot think of God in the morning and at least in the morning and the evening, well, if you cannot do that, then remember God before you eat and before you sleep. Okay, morning and evening you cannot think because your life is irregular. But you have to take your food every day. Won't you? All of us take food. So we have to take food. You cannot give up food. And you have to sleep. No escape from sleep and no escape from food. So at least Sri Ramakrishna is making it much more simpler. Well, if you cannot think of God in the morning and in the evening, then remember God before you eat. You have to take food every day, thrice or whatever number of times. So before you take food, remember God. Anyhow, you have to take food. Then before you go to sleep, you have to sleep. Take the name of God. That's all. Very easy. Ramakrishna made it Very simple and easy. Well, if you cannot think of God morning and evening, then remember God before you eat and before you sleep. But now Girish Chandra Ghosh was reluctant to promise anything to Sri Ramakrishna. He told, I don't know whether I can promise that too. He knew that with his instinctive resistance to self-discipline and rules, he might not be able to keep even this simple observance. He didn't know when he is going to eat, when would be his next meal. Excuse me. He didn't know when he would sleep, when he would take food. So he couldn't promise that he can call God before food and before sleep. Now, when Girish Chandra Ghosh was reluctant to promise any discipline or any observance, he was reluctant to promise anything to Sri Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna knew that. He knew that with his instinctive resistance to self-discipline and rules, Girish Chandra Ghosh might not be able to keep even this simple observance. Then Sri Ramakrishna went into an ecstatic mood. See, this is a wonderful thing given. Nowhere can you find this. Ramakrishna going into ecstatic mood. He said to Girish, so you know that when Ramakrishna would go to ecstasy, it was the divine being, the ancient being, the Gadadhara Vishnu, or Divine Mother Kali, whomever you may call, is speaking through him. So Ramakrishna went into ecstasy and said to Girish, so you are unwilling to agree even to this? All right. Give me your power of attorney. You can ask the advocates or the people who have read law. They know this better. You can get the details about it through them. Now, in that ecstatic mood, Ramakrishna told, so you are unwilling to practice any observances, take the name of the God, do anything, unwilling to agree even to this simplest thing? All right. Give me your power of attorney. Henceforth, I will take full responsibility for you, Girish Chandra Ghosh. You won't have to do anything at all. I will do everything for you. So this is a very special thing which Ramakrishna has promised here to all of us through Girish. Girish is only a medium. And that is happening. Everywhere you can see whoever has come into contact with Sri Ramakrishna, it is not so easy. Try hard. Okay, even for fun. Ask people to come and take mantra diksha. They can't. Some people, they do not even know who is Ramakrishna or anything of that. They come and get it. It is he who is dragging. Everybody, so many people are attracted to him. So once you take that mantra diksha, Ramakrishna will take your whole responsibility. If you do sadhana, wonderful. You will get realization now in this life itself. But if you do not do sadhana, then at the fag end of your life, when you give up your life, Ramakrishna will come and then take you to liberation. Now you can see those words of assurance through Girish Chandra Ghosh. So Girish, you are unwilling to agree even to this simple condition? All right, give me your power of attorney. When a person is a minor, is below 18, is a small child, he doesn't have parents, nobody to look after, then the court gives the power of attorney to some responsible person until that child, whether a boy or a girl, will grow up to maturity and can understand how to manage his property or anything. Until then, another responsible person will take up the power of attorney from the court and look after that child. Now here, Sri Ramakrishna himself, the Supreme Lord, the Avatara, has taken the responsibility of all of us. Through Girish, only we should have faith. If we give our life to this wonderful being called Sri Ramakrishna, he will take our responsibility. And you can see here, okay Girish, so you are unwilling to agree even to this? All right, give me your power of attorney. Henceforth, I will take full responsibility for you. So, whoever places your responsibility, their responsibility, in the hands of Sri Ramakrishna, I will take full responsibility for you. You won't have to do anything at all. I will take care of you. Garish was relieved. This sounded to his liking, for he understood that Sri Ramakrishna had relieved him of all responsibility for his own spiritual well-being and had made him free. But in fact, he made himself Sri Ramakrishna's slave by this. Complete self-surrender is most binding than the observance of strict disciplines. One day, soon after this, Garish Chandra Ghosh remarked, in Sri Ramakrishna's presence, I shall do this. No, no, corrected Sri Ramakrishna. You can't talk like that anymore. Say, I shall do this if God wills. Garish began to understand the mystery of the power of attorney. As time passed, he came to realize that he could not perform any action of his own free will. He had to consciously surrender to the divine will. And gradually he found that he was forced to think of Sri Ramakrishna every moment. Earlier, he refused to think of God in the morning and in the evening. Ramakrishna made it simple, okay, before taking food and before going to sleep, you think of God. He refused to do that even. But now, by giving the power of attorney, giving full responsibility to Sri Ramakrishna, Garish Chandra Ghosh was forced to think of Ramakrishna every second, every moment. So Garish began to understand the mystery of the power of attorney. Now can you understand what is the power of attorney? As time passed, Garish came to realize that he could not perform any action, even a single action of his own free will. He had to consciously surrender to the divine will. And gradually, he found that he was forced to think of Ramakrishna, Master, every second, every moment. In the later part of his life, Garish Chandra Ghosh would say, look at me. I am not even free to breathe. I have to breathe through Sri Ramakrishna. I am not even free. See, giving the power of attorney, I have lost everything. The sole responsibility now belongs to my Guru Sri Ramakrishna. Look at me, I am not even free to breathe. To a large extent, progress in spiritual life depends on the intensity of one's effort. Intensity. The more intensely you feel for God, you pray to God, you do the japa with intensity, with great faith, with great eagerness, earnestness, and also vyakulata. So to the large extent, progress in spiritual life depends upon the intensity of one's effort. Mechanically doing sadhana is different, but doing sadhana, spiritual practices with intensity is different. So to a large extent, progress in spiritual life depends on the intensity of one's effort. Yet, it still takes time to eradicate past samskaras. It's not so easy to remove the deep-rooted impressions which are in a subtle way in the form of the seed, that is the causal body, vasana, subtle desire. It is in the form of the seed. It is very difficult to destroy them. So, naturally, it will take time to eradicate past samskaras, impressions of the mind, vasana. In Garish Chandra Ghosh case too, however, his faith and love were so intense that a transformation in his life was brought about very quickly. So now you can again see the secret of Shraddha, faith. Faith can even eradicate the deep-rooted past samskaras very quickly. So we have got the secret now. With faith, you can get everything. Faith is the root of everything. Faith, faith, faith in oneself. Swami Vivekananda tells faith, 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 faith in God. Faith in yourself is the secret of success. You may have faith in all the 330 millions of God and many other gods which have been imported from the West, but unless you have faith in yourself, there is no success. So faith in God, faith in yourself is the secret of everything. Again here you can see that in the life of Garish Chandra Ghosh. Faith. He was the epitome of Shraddha, faith. And because of that, even the worst deep-rooted samskaras, deep-rooted desires, vasanas, would be quickly eradicated. Yet, it still takes time to eradicate past samskaras, impression of the mind. But in Garish Chandra Ghosh's case, though he was a great sinner, so many deep-rooted desires were there, deep-rooted samskaras, sins were there. However, his faith and love for God and his Guru, bhakti and shraddha, shraddha and bhakti. However, his faith, Garish Chandra Ghosh's intense faith and love, bhakti, love towards God and his Guru were so intense that a transformation, this transformation is real conversion. Not just putting on some dress, changing your name, changing your habits, changing in going to the churches or some masjid is conversion. This is real conversion. Intense faith in God, intense love for God, that can bring about intense transformation in one's life. That's why, even though it is very, very difficult to eradicate habits and samskaras and vasanas, but in case of Girish Chandra Ghosh, his faith, the Shraddha, faith of Girish Ghosh in Ramakrishna, his love towards God and his Guru, but so intense, not ordinary, intense. So if you too have faith in God and your Guru, you can also bring about this change. Anything can happen, any miracle can happen. Nothing is impossible if you have faith. So Girish, faith and love were so intense that a transformation in his life was brought about very quickly. In spite of this, Sri Ramakrishna's standard was very high. It was not of ordinary standard. In spite of this, Sri Ramakrishna once made a remark about Girish Chandra Ghosh to another devotee. You may wash 1,000 times that cup which had held a solution of garlic. You know what is garlic is. But is it ever possible to get rid of the smell of the garlic altogether? So deliberately Sri Ramakrishna would tell that so that Girish has to put in that much more effort to come out of that. When Ramakrishna told or commented in this fashion towards another devotee about Girish, surely that devotee will go and tell Girish that Ramakrishna told about you like this. What was that? You may wash 1,000 times a cup that held a solution of garlic. But is it ever possible to get rid of the smell of the garlic altogether? Girish Chandra Ghosh heard about this comment of Sri Ramakrishna about him, and he was very much hurt. He went straight to Sri Ramakrishna and asked, "O Lord, O Master, will this smell of the garlic go?" Sri Ramakrishna replied, "Yes, it will go." "So you say it will go?" Then Sri Ramakrishna gave a wonderful solution to that. How to remove the deep-rooted samskaras. All smell of the garlic disappears when a blazing fire is lighted. When you heat that vessel in the blazing fire, whatever might be the smell will vanish. So Ramakrishna is giving the solution that yes, that too can be removed. Garish was very hurt when he heard. He went straight to Sri Ramakrishna and asked. See, Ramakrishna through Girish is giving all of us. We are all representing Girish. We have all this character in some different degrees, that's all. Maybe some great, maybe some low, less. But all of us have that character called Girish in us. So to get answers, we are in trouble many times. So Ramakrishna is putting all these comments, that criticism, and again getting the questions from Girish. It is all for us. So Girish directly went to Ramakrishna with a mind hurt by that comment and asked, "Master, will this smell of garlic go from my heart?" Ramakrishna reassured, "Yes, it will go." "So you say it will?" Again Ramakrishna replied, "All smell disappears. All smell disappears when a blazing fire is lighted. When you burn that vessel in the blazing fire, any smell will disappear. So what is that here in our spiritual life? What is that blazing fire? If you heat, the cup smelling of garlic, you get rid of the smell. It becomes a new cup. So if you heat our mind with that love of God, intense love of God, intense repentance, vyakulata, then all the smell will disappear. Now and then Sri Ramakrishna would visit Girish Chandra Ghosh theatre and would bring him sweets and other prasad. One day Sri Ramakrishna fed Girish Chandra Ghosh with his own hands. Girish wrote of this in his memoirs. The kindness, that love, that affection which his Guru Ramakrishna showed him, in spite of being a sinner, in spite of having so many vices. So Girish Chandra wrote of this in his memoirs. One day when I arrived at Dakshineshwar, Sri Ramakrishna was just finishing his noonday meal. He offered me his dessert. But as I was about to eat it, he said, wait, let me feed you myself. Then he put the pudding, the payasam, into my mouth with his own fingers. And I ate that payasam hungrily and unself-consciously, just like a small baby, just like the mother feeding the small child. I felt Sri Ramakrishna like a mother feeding this child. So I forgot that I was an adult. I ate that payasam hungrily and unself-consciously as a small baby. I forgot that I was an adult. I felt I was a child of the mother, and the mother called Ramakrishna was feeding me. But now when I remember how these lips of mine had touched so many impure things, but in spite of that, not caring about all these impurities, the mother called Sri Ramakrishna fed me, touching those lips with his holy hand. Parishuddha Hasta. I am overwhelmed with emotion and I say to myself, did this actually happen in my life? Could this happen? Or was it only a dream? That karuna, that kindness, that mercy, the ocean of mercy, the motherly heart at Sri Ramakrishna. He had a male body, that's all. He was the real mother. Did it really happen? Or was it only a dream? Let us again read that kindness and feel that for ourselves. You imagine yourself in the place of Sri Girish Chandra Ghosh and enjoy the motherly love of Sri Ramakrishna. We will again go through that. We feel so much blessed. We will feel so much happy by that. Let us enjoy the situation again. Ramakrishna would visit Girish Chandra Ghosh theatre and his house, and he would bring sweets to him. Once the master fed Girish Chandra Ghosh with his own hands. Girish wrote of this in his memoirs. Let us hear that from the lips of this hero of this subject now, Garish Chandra Ghosh. One day when I arrived at Dakshineshwar, Sri Ramakrishna was just finishing his noonday meal. He offered me his own dessert, the payasam which was served to him. So Sri Ramakrishna offered that very dessert payasam to me, which was offered to him. He didn't take it. But as I was about to eat it, he stopped me. He said, wait, Girish, let me feed you myself. Then Sri Ramakrishna put the pudding, the payasam, into my mouth with his own pure hands, with his own fingers. And Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling, I ate as hungrily and unself-consciously as a small baby. I forgot that I was an adult. I felt I was a child of the mother called Sri Ramakrishna. And the mother, the merciful mother, was feeding me. But now, when I remember how these lips of mine had touched many impure lips, and how Sri Ramakrishna fed me, touching my impure lips with his holy hand, I am overwhelmed with emotion, and I say to myself, did this actually happen? Or was it only a dream? One day, Girish Chandra Ghosh is telling, Sri Ramakrishna asked Girish Chandra Ghosh to massage his feet. It's a rare opportunity to touch the feet of the Guru, and that too this great Avatar Purusha. And out of his mercy, Sri Ramakrishna himself asked Girish to massage his feet, allowing him the opportunity to give him loving personal service as an intimate disciple. Girish Chandra Ghosh wrote later, I was unwilling. I thought, what nonsense? Who is going to sit and massage his feet? But now, when the memory returns, I become overwhelmed with remorse. It was only the thought of his infinite love that gives me solace. Gradually, however, Garish began to notice how other devotees were serving Sri Ramakrishna with love and respect. And by contrast, what a terrible life he was leading. He felt very bad. But because of his dissolute lifestyle, he was reluctant to offer his service to Sri Ramakrishna. Then one day, when Sri Ramakrishna was visiting his theatre, Girish, under the influence of liquor, voiced his desire. One day, Ramakrishna had gone to the theatre of Girish. There, Girish was fully drunk. So, under the influence of the liquor, Girish Chandra Ghosh put out his heart desire. He had a desire. See, you cannot hide your desire when you are fully drunk. So, under the influence of the liquor, Garish voiced his desire. And what was that desire? See, you will wonder. And what was that desire? O Lord, O Ramakrishna, I have not been able to serve you in this life. But if you are born again as my son. The desire was Ramakrishna should be born as his son. Then I can serve you to my heart's content. Please promise me that you will be born as my son. To which Ramakrishna replied, "What are you saying?" Said Sri Ramakrishna, "Why should I be born as your son? I shall be your guru, your chosen deity, Ishtadevata. I will not be born as your son." Then Girish Chandra Ghosh became, because he was under the influence of liquor, alcohol, he was intoxicated already, and Ramakrishna refused. He became very angry and abused Sri Ramakrishna in coarse language. He used very filthy language. He scolded Ramakrishna with all the filthy language, coarse language. Garish became angry and abused Master in coarse language. The devotees who were present with Sri Ramakrishna were very much shocked and upset and asked Sri Ramakrishna not to see Girish Chandra Ghosh again. But Sri Ramakrishna never felt hurt when he scolded him with all that filthy language. Quietly, Ramakrishna returned to Dakshineshwar. And what did Sri Ramakrishna do? He prayed to the Divine Mother. "O Mother, Girish is an actor. How can he understand your glory? Mother, please forgive him. Do not be upset that he has scolded you in this manner." Ramakrishna had completely obliterated his ego. There was no I at all. Instead, it was Divine Mother Kali who was there in his body. So now he is addressing the Divine Mother, Ramakrishna, and telling, he prayed to Divine Mother, "O Mother, Girish is an actor. How can he understand your glory? Mother, please forgive Girish Chandra Ghosh." So he is not hurt. He thinks that Divine Mother Kali is present and she was insulted and she is hurt, and is praying that Girish should not be punished or Mother should not get angry. So he identifies completely with the Divine Mother Kali, has obliterated his ego. Sri Ramakrishna quietly returned to Dakshineshwar and he prayed to Divine Mother, "O Mother Kali, Girish is an actor. How can he understand your glory, your greatness, Mother? Mother, please forgive Girish." The next day, Ramchandra Datta visited Dakshineshwar. He heard the story of Girish's behavior the previous evening, and he told Sri Ramakrishna, "A wonderful story is being repeated here. It's really inspiring." And what is that story? The story is really good. You all know that in Vrindavan, Lord Krishna and his friends would go grazing the cow on the bank of Yamuna. If you go to Vrindavan, you can find all those places as it is. Somehow once a big poisonous snake called Kalinga, Kaliya in the local term, but in Sanskrit it is called Kalinga Sarpa, with its family it came to that Yamuna river and poisoned that river. Any animal going there would die drinking the water, even the people, and that Kalinga would eat that cows or that animal or that man. So people were afraid of it. Krishna is a small child with his friends playing with the cows, and also ball. He had a ball, used to throw it and play. When that ball entered that river Yamuna, this boy child Krishna jumped into that, and Kalinga Sarpa came there angrily to bite and kill Krishna. And then Krishna fought with that Kalinga Sarpa and then subdued that Kalinga, and he stood on the head of that Kalinga Sarpa. It had so many hoods, and started dancing on that head. The serpent, that huge serpent, poisonous serpent, was subdued. It was defeated in the fight. This baby Krishna, that little Krishna, fought with that Kalinga Sarpa and subdued it. Then after that, he was dancing on the hoods of that, catching hold of that snake. You might have all seen that photo in many places, Kalinga Mardana. If you go to Vrindavan, even now, there is a place people will take you, Kaliya Ghat or Kalinga Ghat, where this happened. Even now you can find that place. So referring to that story, Ramachandra Datta is telling Sri Ramakrishna, Sir, Master, he told Sri Ramakrishna, Sir, the serpent Kaliya or Kalinga, the reference to the story of Krishna subduing the venomous snake Kalinga by dancing on the serpent's head. Then Kalinga began spewing out quantities of poison from its mouth. Now, the serpent Kalinga started spewing poison when he was dancing on the head. It started spewing intense poison from its mouth. Then Krishna asked him, what is this? I'm dancing on your head. You should give something good to the God. You should offer flowers or something, sweets or something to the God, and you are offering poison to me. To which that serpent Kalinga replied, O Lord Krishna, what have you given me? You have placed poison in my mouth. You have not placed amrita, nectar in my mouth. It is you, the Lord of the universe, who has placed the poison in my mouth. It is you, O Lord, who have given me the poison. You have not placed nectar in my mouth. If you had placed nectar instead of poison, I would have offered that nectar to you. But since you have kept poison in my mouth, I will offer that to you. What can I offer? I don't have anything. I'm a serpent. You have placed poison in my mouth. I'm offering that poison at your feet. So I'm worshipping your feet with that poison which you have kept in my mouth. What am I supposed to do? You are the one who have placed poison in my mouth. You have not placed nectar in my mouth. So that is the incidents during that Kalinga Mardana. Sir, the serpent Kaliya, Ramachandra Datta is told Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna, you have given me only poison. Where shall I get nectar to offer you and worship you? So telling this story, Ramachandra Datta is telling Ramakrishna, it is the same with Garish. O Master, you are the Avatara, you are the Lord. You have placed all those qualities, the habits, the drinking nature, alcoholic nature, and also that abusive nature in Garish. You have given that. And he has offered that to you. So please don't be angry, just like that Kalinga Sarpa. When Ramachandra convinced Sri Ramakrishna in this way, the whole scenario turned. It was a wonderful scenario. Isn't it wonderful to hear it itself? You get thrilled, you see. Here is the saving grace. It is the same with Girish. Where will he bring good words and sweet words? You have placed that coarse words and bad words in his mouth. So he has offered that to you. He has worshipped you with that. Where will Girish Chandra Ghosh get nectar? Girish Chandra Ghosh has worshipped you, the master, the avatara, with whatever you have given to him. Sri Ramakrishna smiled and said to the other devotees present, see, in spite of getting all that coarse scoldings, intense insult, Ramakrishna was not at all disturbed or angry. He prayed for him with Mother Kali to forgive him. And now, when this story of Kalinga Sarpa was told and compared to Girish, immediately, just like a small child, Ramakrishna started smiling and said to the other devotees present, listen to Ramchandra Datta, what is he saying? Get a carriage, let us go and meet Girish and entertain him. Get a carriage, bring a carriage, horse carriage. If you would be there in the present situation, okay, bring your car, bring a vehicle. Let us go to Girish's house. So some of our volunteers, our chairman or our secretary or our volunteers who have a vehicle would have bought their vehicles to Sri Ramakrishna, and you could have taken him to the Girish Chandra Ghosh house. Likewise, Ramakrishna is telling, listen what Ramchandra Datta is telling, that I have placed that rough talking, coarse words, that poison in the heart of Girish Chandra Ghosh, and he has worshipped me with that. See what is he saying? Come, let us go to Girish. Bring a carriage. Listen to what Ramachandra is saying. Get a carriage. I shall go to Girish's house right now. No delay. Let us go to Girish's house. It's just like small children. The small children is not attached to anything sattva, rajas and tamas. This moment it will be unhappy. The next moment it forgets everything. Not even that. Ramakrishna never took the insult at all. He is praying to Divine Mother Kali to forget Girish. Now, meanwhile, Girish Chandra Ghosh was very much repentant. He had refused to eat and he was weeping piteously the whole night. He was weeping and weeping for his bad behavior. He refused to eat. He didn't even take anything. He was fasting. He was weeping piteously. And to his surprise, in the morning, suddenly he saw Sri Ramakrishna at his house and he was overwhelmed. If you go to Calcutta, house of Girish Chandra Ghosh is in the center of the road. It's just like a circle. It is very near to Balram Babu's house. I have been there. So Ramakrishna has visited that place too. Even now, if you go to Calcutta, you can find it. So Ramakrishna entered the house of Girish Chandra Ghosh, and Girish is crying piteously. He was repentant for what he had done. He used that foul language to Sri Ramakrishna. He had not taken food. He was crying piteously. Suddenly he saw Sri Ramakrishna at his house and he was overwhelmed. He said, Master, Gurudeva, Master, if you had not come today, I would have concluded that you had not attained that supreme state of knowledge whereby you are disturbed by insult and you will be bloated by praises. You are not gone above that. I would have thought, you are a Paramahamsa, you are Parabrahma Swarupa, you are the Avatar Purusha. How can the Parabrahma Swarupa be disturbed by insults? So if you have not come today, Master, if you have not come today, I would have concluded that you have not attained that supreme state of knowledge where praise and blame are equal to that. You could not be called a Paramahamsa, an illumined soul. So what a beautiful incident. It's really thrilling. The incidents of Kalinga, that example given by Ramchandra Datta, and Ramakrishna praying in spite of getting abuses and bad words and such insults. Ramakrishna is praying to the Divine Mother not to get angry with Girish. And the moment Ramchandra Datta gave this wonderful example of the Kalinga Mardana, Kaliya, how can the snake give nectar? You have kept the poison in its mouth. Say similarly, Girish, you have kept this. And Ramakrishna, just like a baby, smiled, got the carriage and ran to the house of Girish to console Girish. Should have been the obverse. But now Ramakrishna himself is running like a mother to console the child. And here Girish was repentant and crying piteously the whole night without food. And he felt overwhelmed and proclaimed, if you had not come today, I would have concluded that you have not attained that high state. Ramakrishna was beyond praises, beyond criticisms. And he blessed Girish Chandra Ghosh going to the house. So we will continue reading this wonderful life of Garish Chandra Ghosh in the next class, that is Thursday, God willing. If Mother wills, if Ramakrishna wills, we will have this wonderful conversation next Thursday. Until then, we will be meditating on the wonderful things, the faith. Let us increase our faith. You can get everything. You can get peace of mind by faith. Increase your faith in God, in your Guru. Completely surrender to God. God will take your responsibility. Give your power of eternity to God. Let Him do whatever He wants with our life. Enjoy your every bit of life meditating on Him. So if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, we can give some time for that. So there are no questions on the YouTube live chat. Are there any questions here in the Google Live? Any questions? Okay, then we can conclude today's conversation about the life of Girish Chandra Ghosh with a prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Prenite Prenitam Jagat Harihi Om Tatsat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Namaste. Om Namo Narayana.